Alright, so in just a couple of years, we've seen GAC Philippines rise from being a niche car brand to something to be respected, especially in the local car scene. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph, and today we'll be reviewing something that you wouldn't believe costs how much with how the way it performs and it looks and it feels. This is the GAC Empow. Now, the GAC Empow has always been on my bucket list of cars to, absolutely review and drive for the past year or so. And this time, though, I think the long wait has been totally worth it. I mean, look at it. It's a large, sporty sedan. It's got a 1.5 liter turbo, and it looks just badass, especially when they're looking at the front end right here. I mean, it's got some sporty bits to it. You've got some yellow accents right here on the grille. You got an S badge right there. The trim right around the grille here and right on each side there of the grille has this fall carbon fiber look to it, which actually kind of looks nice, but it might throw a couple of people off, especially when they look at it and they know what real carbon fiber looks like. But for me, in my eye, that looks just great. You got some yellow accents on each side as well, a large hood on top with a slight hint of a power bulge, and again a camera right there on top. That camera doesn't actually see anything, doesn't give you any video feed, but that works with the advanced driver assist systems, which gladly and thankfully it does have. Now, you got these LED headlamps. You won't see any fog lamps here though, but with the way how lighting technology works these days, you really won't need any fog lamps. They're just pretty much like an aesthetic feature, which I do wish this thing's had. Overall, the front end definitely gives you this sporty and aggressive vibe, but I wish they could have gone a little further and maybe added a little more red instead of yellow, but that's just my taste. Let's head over to the side. Now, only here on the side profile will you start to appreciate how large and massive this supposedly compact sedan really is. I mean, from the front end to the rear, it's really huge. I mean, especially if you compare it to the more established models in its particular segment. Now, in effect, what that does is that even though it has 18-inch alloy wheels with 225/45 R18 tires, those wheels seem a little bit too small for this particular car. I wish it had 19 inches or even 20 inches in this case here, but I'm glad that they are designed in a way to give it a little bit more class in its in the proceedings here, because it's got this multi-spoke, almost snowflake-like kind of design there. But again, I wish they were just bigger. That's what she said. You do have a front and rear disc brakes here, and being the top of the line Empow, you do have some brake caliper covers. You got decent ground clearance right here below with the same carbon fiber trim that was found right there in the front grille. One particular design feature that I find a little bit iffy here though is that this particular black strip right here on the back, it definitely goes nowhere. I'm not sure what the designers had in mind for this particular section right here, but I guess it's just there to tie things up, especially with the rear going here from the middle. The rear does have some sort of a fastback look to it, where the roof actually slides all the way down to the rear trunk right there. But trust me, this definitely isn't a hatchback or a fastback in that case. You've got quad tip exhaust right there below here, and these are legit quad tip exhaust because you won't see any smaller tubes inside of these babies. Instead, they go straight all the way to their exhaust system, so which we'll be talking about later on. Those things serve a function, and it is just amazing. Now, you got this nice looking rear diffuser here with a third brake lamp right there below for your rear fog lamps. You got the GAC badge and the Empow badge right here, which has an interesting typography working for it, and I hope they carry this over to the next few Empows in the future. Right here in the back, you'll find the solitary rear camera that works with the rear camera system, as well as some parking sensors right here below. The great part about this is that you've got LED tail lamps here. It has this nice smoke black effect to it. It gives you this particular bow-like design that you wish it would just go ahead and connect with each other. But this one rear, especially when looking at it from the rear, has a sort of Germanic look to it, if you ask me. Now, the thing about the GAC Empow though, if you're right here in the back, there's no way for you to open it. There's no switch. If I'm not mistaken, there's no switch to open it. But in order for you to open it, you'd have to use your key fob to open it remotely. So there we go. My guy Ken, he opened it up right there, no problems. It gives you access to all this space in the trunk. As you can see, you've got all my bags and all my stuff and crap. You got your groceries here, you got your water jugs there. And yeah, if you need even more space, you can fold those rear seats down. They fold in a 60-40 split configuration. And one neat trick here, as you can see, I got the keys right here. It's idiot proof, so you won't be able to leave the keys inside. It detects if the keys are in the trunk, so you won't be able to leave or lock yourself out of your car. So I got the keys again, and it's closed. All right, so we're inside the GAC Empow. This is the GB variant, which means this is the top of the line variant, and you got a little bit of extra features, both in the performance aspect and the exterior, and especially right here inside. You've got yellow stitching. That's right. So instead of getting red, that evokes some sort of sportiness to it, GAC decided to go ahead and use yellow in it. I guess that signifies lightning or speed or flash. I'm not sure, but it does work. It definitely gives you a different kind of vibe inside, especially with the gray dashboard right here in the middle. Gray and yellow. I've never thought that they actually mix quite well, but it certainly does. And yeah, I appreciate the GAC actually opening up my mind to some new colorways that we can actually appreciate. The steering wheel is nice and chunky. It has a D shape to it, which adds a little bit more sportiness to the affairs. Plus, one thing that I have been complaining about GAC's cars, especially with the M Zoom and the M Coup, is it doesn't have any manual options for it, but this time you do get these paddle shifters right here behind the steering wheel. And thankfully there are no piano black bits on the center console. What you do get instead is this carbon fiber trim. Carbon fiber trim here that is a bit glossy, but it does not attract any fingerprints, which is nice. You have this fighter jet theme going on inside with this sort of, this looks like a throttle lever right here for the shifter. So if you want to shift to drive, just hit below, just pull it below, pull it up there for reverse and neutral. It's easy to shift. This is a 7-speed wet type dual clutch transmission, and again, thankfully you do have some paddle shifters to work with it. One thing that I do like about the whole interior affair with these GAC Empow is that you do have a lot of ergonomic bits in it. You still have physical buttons for the AC, knobs for the AC as well, which is nice. You don't have any soft touch or capacitive buttons to control a very basic thing. Plus you got a volume scroll wheel right here to control the volume, which is nice, and another toggle switch for your drive modes. You do have 5 different drive modes: Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and Custom or DIY. So if you want to DIY, if you want to customize your own driving style, you can do it right there. One thing interesting about this though is that when you hit the Sport Plus, the center touchscreen infotainment system turns into some sort of gauge cluster with different types of information that you would need, well, not really need, but want to see. You got this pad right there on top of the center console, and you would think that it was a wireless charger, but it is not, which might be a missed opportunity there, GAC. The gauge cluster is also digital, and you can change how it looks depending on your driving mode, or you can just change it depending on what you want it to be right there. And there's a switch right here on the left side for you to check out other details like your trip meter, your tire pressure monitoring system, current, fuel economy. It even has a G table or a G meter, so you can actually see how much G's you're applying while you're driving in your GAC Empow. The steering wheel is adjustable for both reach and rake, and the seats, or the driver's seat at least, is power adjustable. So you do have some sort of particular design here, rubberized G. I think it wants you to G and go and do your thing in your GAC Empow. You even have that G right here on the center armrest as well. Speaking of the center armrest, you do have 2 extra cup holders right here. and a large center console for all your stuff. You even have additional space, a shelf underneath the center console to hide your undesirables or your other stuff, probably your phone. You can put it underneath there, but I would rather have it right there. But you do have 2 USB ports as well. The thing about this though, it uses 2 USB-A ports. In this day and age, when a lot of phones are shipping in with USB-C, this is not as future-proof as you want it to be. One quirk about the whole center console though is that between the digital gauge cluster and the touchscreen infotainment system, there seems to be a blank space. What I'd like to do with that though is that since it doesn't have any electronics or display listed to it, is I could use this. I got my own suction cup and it fits perfectly right there in the middle. So you got your own phone holder. You can put it right there. So it's still within the parameters of anti-distracted driving. You can put it as low as you want. And there, you got your phone. You know why you need that? Because GAC Empow does not have Android Auto. It does have Apple CarPlay though. It would have been great if I had still had my iPhone, but right now it doesn't have Android Auto. You do have Huawei HiCar and Baidu CarLife to integrate some sort of smartphone integration for your Android, but that is not the ideal setting that I would like it to. It doesn't even have a DVR system, so you can actually install your own dash cam there. And it has a USB port right behind the rear view mirrors. It also has ambient lighting, so you can actually choose what color you want, or you can actually just link it to a particular drive mode that you're having. Sport obviously would have red, Eco obviously would have green, and you can actually turn it on, so you can it's actually going to pulsate with the beat of your music. I would probably turn that off. All right, so right here at the second row seats, the seats are actually kind of comfortable. You only have a slight hint of a rear center tunnel right here in the back, but it's not too high to be uncomfortable, even if you have a middle passenger right there. But because of how large the GAC Empow is, I can definitely see myself fitting 3 of the same size people as me right here in the back. No problems. The seat belts are of the same color. An AC vent, it just has one solitary USB-A port in the back, and it gives you a 5-volt charge. It's not going to charge some iPads or even your MacBook Air. It's just going to slightly keep your phone within the same charge. But hey, it's very comfortable. The seats are very supportive and they're soft. They're not the particular types where it's just flat and you're going to have to brace while the driver's driving aggressively. But it's fine. You still have the same carbon fiber trims here in the back. You got a center armrest as well if you do choose to open it up. So you can put your drink right there. Yes. You got a lot of headroom in your space for your feet and your knees. I'm riding in my particular driving position here, which is all the way back and leaned a little bit back as well. I still have a lot of space for me. All right, but let's take this out for a spin, because this is the pretty much the hallmark of the GAC Empow. It's driving dynamics. Everything else is extra, so let's take this show for the road. All right, so we're behind the wheel of the GAC Empow. This is the GB variant, which means it's the top of the line one. This has all the bells and whistles that GAC can offer the Empow with. And oh, wow, it's been a while since I've driven a sedan. In fact, it's been a while since I've driven a sport-oriented sedan, and this is quite an experience. Under the hood, you got a 1.5 liter turbocharged gasoline engine that makes 168 horsepower and 270 Newton meters of torque. It's mated to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission with manual mode and pedal shifters right here. And oh boy, it can go. When it comes to the steering though, I've set it to Sport Plus mode, by the way, so I've got everything turned up to 10. Just 10. Turned up to the max, basically. So you got maximum throttle response. You've got the heaviest steering setting. There we go. And the suspension's been set up to be quite stiff as well. So the steering in this particular mode is nice. I mean, it has been, I've always been iffy about electronic power steering, especially for someone who's used to hydraulic ones. And you can definitely feel a lot of the road here. And I like it. This doesn't feel numb at all. It gives you a lot of feedback. That's what I want to say. The feedback that it gives to you, especially when driving quite aggressively, but sanely and legally, is nice. The thing about having great steering feedback is that it actually adds a lot to safety while you're driving, because you know where your car is going. You know that it's good. If you point it in this direction, flick your wrist this way, it will respond to whatever action you wanted to take. The suspension setup is pretty standard. You've got McPherson struts up front and multi-link independent suspension in the rear, which I would not ask for anything less, actually. This car is begging for that particular suspension setup. If you can hear that, I wanted to save that for the last part, but let's go ahead and discuss that. It has a sort of active exhaust system where you can actually turn that thing off or turn it on. The way it's set up is that it actually has in this particular exhaust system where it increases the volume, right? The volume of your exhaust, of your mufflers right there. So I wouldn't be calling it mufflers anymore, because it barely muffles any of the sound that comes out of it, but it just adds a little bit more fun. That sound isn't pumped in, by the way. It doesn't have any pumped in exhaust sounds. Everything that you hear right now comes from the outside, from the intake, the exhaust. So it doesn't pop or bang, it gurgles, and I like it. I mean, if you do have a car that pops and bangs from a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, that's just posing. This is trying to push every bit of performance out of that small tiny engine, small turbocharger, but added a little bit more gurgles to it. Now, the 7-speed dual clutch transmission, because we're set on Sport Plus mode, can get a little too jerky. As you can see, we're in stop and go traffic right now. It is a little bit jerky, but there is a solution to that. Just set back your driving mode to a more tame setting. We're going to Eco. And on Eco, they've actually turned out the GAC Empow turns its active exhaust system off, and it becomes quite a tame and quiet beast. There you go. You can barely hear that. And the throttle response is changed, basically. You won't feel any of the jerkiness anymore. I'm glad that dual clutch transmissions have improved and advanced to a point where you no longer have to fear dual clutch transmissions, especially in traffic. NVH levels are top notch. I mean, GAC has always figured out a way for their cars to be well insulated against the outside world, but because of the low profile tires, those 18 inches with low profile tires, yeah, you can definitely feel and hear a lot of road noise. Probably changing those tires to more expensive tires would resolve that. The brakes, even though those on the outside it looks like performance brakes, those are not performance brakes. Those are performance brake covers. But the way the brakes perform is nice. They're linear. They're not too grabby. See, if I press on the brakes right here, they're absolutely not grabby at all. They just bite a little lower to the floor as I wanted it to, but it's easy to get used to it, so that's fine. The turning radius is pretty good as well, but you have to keep in mind this is a long car, longer wheelbase. I can actually compare this to a mid-sized sedans like the Accord or the Camry and such, but it's perfectly workable for a car with a long wheelbase and those 18-incher tires. It does have a decent turning radius too. So fuel economy is decent. In fact, I would go as far as saying that the GAC Empow of the three EM cars, the M Zoom and the M Coup, the Empow probably have the best fuel economy in my opinion. You got 8 kilometers per liter in the city, which is decent and nice, especially for the performance that you're getting out of this, and the size and the features and the weight. 8 kilometers per liter in the city is my norm. And when you get out on the highway, it goes up to 14 kilometers per liter on the highway. Safety features include, of course, your standard set. You've got these yellow seat belts. Yellow seat belts are important for safety. You got ABS with the electronic brake force distribution. You got traction control, which of course comes standard as well. Isofix anchors right there in the back, because this is ideally a family car too. But it's got some advanced driver assist systems as well. So adaptive cruise controls right there. You got lane keep assist, lane departure warning. You got parking sensors all around. And you even have traffic jam assist. So traffic jam assist is where you actually use your car. In traffic situations, you can turn on adaptive cruise control, and it's going to stop, go, and stop and go based on the traffic situation that you're in. One thing it does not have, though, is again the 360-degree camera system. You also have an electronic parking brake with automatic brake hold, which is nice. It is that's probably one of the most helpful features in modern cars right here, and it does have it in the GAC Empow automatic brake hold. Pricing for the GAC Empow starts at 1,225,000 pesos for the entry-level GS variant. But the GS variant is basically the basic. Everything in there is, you got 16-inch alloy wheels. You don't get the different drive modes. You don't get the advanced driver assist systems there, but it is a good car. I mean, it's still a solid performer. It's got a 1.5-liter turbo. It's everything that you're looking for in an entry-level car, and then some, because it looks kind of cool. You don't get DRLs on it as well, but in my mind, that would probably be a good buy. But if you want some extra features like the ADA, advanced driver assist systems, you want DRLs, you want bigger wheels, 17 inchers, right there. You want leather seats. You would probably want to go for the GB variant, which is 1,305,000 pesos, and that would give you all the nice features. It has larger 17-inch wheels, and you got DRLs there. You got leather seats. But this one right here is the top of the line, the GE variant. The GE has everything that you want, as we reviewed it. It's a pretty good value, especially when you consider that at 1,348,000 pesos, you're just scratching at the entry-level variants of most cars in this particular segment. Right, so if you're in the market for a GAC Empow, you might want to consider other cars as well, but they're actually more expensive. You've got the tried and tested, very sporty Honda Civic RS. You got the Toyota Corolla Altis Hybrid, if you want to go the hybrid route, and the MG GT. So that's my review of the GAC Empow at a starting price of 1,225,000 pesos for the entry-level GS variant. It definitely offers a lot for the price, and especially when you compare it to its other rivals in the segment. But this one right here, the full-fat version that we reviewed, 1,375,000 pesos, is certainly a steal, considering that it is already the top-of-the-line variant with some extras, especially with the exterior right here. And at that price, the other rivals will just have, give you the entry-level variants. But this one, certainly a steal, especially for me. I loved every minute of driving this, even in traffic. Its performance relative to its fuel economy and great value, certainly something that you need to check into. But I want to know what you think. Drop me a comment in the comment section down below, and while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph. I will see you guys next time.